it's Liz Yuille from Old Stables Crafts. Thank you very much for joining me again today. Today I am making a card using Seaside notions, which carried over from the last catalogue, excuse me, and the Whale of a Time designer series paper, which is gorgeous. It's so cute. Double-sided, absolutely, 6x6. I'm still waiting for my stamp set and punch bundle to arrive. I ordered the paper for paper shares. Today is the last day to get in on the paper shares and the ribbon shares, by the way, and also to get your place at my virtual launch party, which is happening on the 11th of July. UK addresses only, I'm afraid. But yes, so I ordered this paper thinking it was going to be too cutesy for words. It's gorgeous. Some of them are cute, as in cutesy, but some of the papers are, well, most of the papers are just wonderful. And the problem is they're so wonderful you don't want to cut them down. So it's going to be a challenge to make the most of them, I think. However, today's card uses one sheet for 2 cards, which is always a bonus. So, and while I'm sorting myself out, do remember, if you don't already subscribe to my YouTube channel, it takes about a millisecond and you just click the button in the bottom right hand corner. When we get to 9,000 subscribers, I'm going to do a giveaway, just saying. We've got about, not quite 500 people to go. Anyway, you want to see the card. This is the card I've put together. I've got a little bit of the ribbon that goes with the suite just wrapped around my paper there, tied in a knot. I've used some of the Flowers for Every Season gems to just act as kind of little air bubbles. So I've just got a few of those dotted around, just stuck on with some multi-purpose liquid glue. And then I've patterned the outside of the outside edge and stamped on the inside as well. So let me show you how to make it. I'm going to be using Pool Party this time. This was Balmy Blue. The range of colours in the pack is, let me read this, Balmy Blue, Blackberry Bliss, Bumblebee, Calypso Coral, Granny Apple Green, Just Jade, Pacific Point, Pool Party, Pretty Peacock, Shaded Spruce, and it's on a Whisper White base. So lots of the green aqua shades with just a little pop of colour. And this is the Calypso Coral blends. Excuse me, I'm really croaky this morning. And then this is Just Jade. So, first things first, let's make the background for our card. I need a scrap of paper, and this is a scrap. So fold your card in half. I've said it before and I'll say it again, doesn't matter whether you do top fold or side fold, you will get 2 card bases out of one piece of paper because you're simply cutting it in half. So, I've got my bubbles, or whatever they are, mounted up, and I've got my Pool Party ink pad, and I'm just going to add these to the edge of my card, and I'm going in full strength. And what I found is that you can then, excuse me, turn the stamp over and kind of nestle in. So you don't get a great big gap. Doesn't matter if you get a little gap, but you don't want a great big gap. Turn over, and ooh, that one doesn't want to nestle. Why doesn't it want to nestle? There we go, that's where it nestles. And then just fill in any obvious gaps. And you don't need to go the whole way across because you're covering this strip up. Now, while I have got the ink and the stamp out, I need a liner So for the liner, I'm going to stamp off, but still come down the side of my card, but I just want it slightly paler. And I am going to come in again, oops, and just fill in those little slightly blank areas. There we go. So that's that stamp used. And then we also want to have "Here's to you" in the middle of the card. So load, aim, fire. And there we go. So that's all the stamping we need to do with Pool Party. So that is all done. Let me just clean my stamps off. So, what was I going to say? Oh yes, I know. I still have a few, but only a very few, packs of Retired Designer Series paper available. You can order those just by going to my website, and if you look at yesterday's post, there's a link to the page that's got all that information on. It's £10 including postage for a minimum of 100 sheets cut to 6x6. So if it was 12x12 paper, I've cut it down to 6x6. Just makes it cheaper to post, and it means it's easier to then bundle with existing 6x6 papers. Okay, so that's that done. Now, you may be wondering how I managed to get my seahorses mirrored. It's a very simple technique once you know how. So, I'm just going to... I've got my silicone mat in my Stamparatus, and that's held down. And then that will fit there, yes. Good. Okay. Now, there is a little trick to this. Let me get the right ink pad. Oh, actually, let me get that one. And the little trick is, when you use blends on your, blends over your alcohol markers, you can end up with the blend bleeding a bit into, or smudging the powder. You've heat set it, obviously, but it can sort of unset it, and it can look like a muddy mess. There is an easy way around that, which I'm going to show you. And I used the technique on a card over the weekend, just slightly differently. But what I want to do is ink up my seahorse. And that's all I need my Calypso Coral for. You could use Petal Pink, any colour that kind of goes. Then you want to stamp off. And then bring in your, that is right. Bring in your silicone mat, hold it in place, stamp it again, and then bring in your piece of Whisper White card, stamp the back, because that's going to be the back, and then this is going to be the front of your card. Now, do not move anything. From this point, we want to get rid of the ink, or at least get rid of any ink that is going to bleed. So that's that, and that, and obviously I can wash this properly when I do it, quote, in anger. Just going to take that off there. Clean your stamp, because you don't want Calypso Coral ink going forward. Right, so now you can, just need to work out which way is which. That would be that way, so this is the back. Right, so this is the back. Whew, had a moment there. Now you can colour in without any problem at all. So I'm just going to use my light Calypso Coral pretty much everywhere. I'm not going to worry too much because seahorses are almost translucent, so it doesn't matter if you miss the odd bit, because that will just add to that translucent feel. And I'm using the large end because I'm covering a large area, or larger area, and then just carefully go around there. And then we can come in with some darker, I'm going to use the bullet end for this, and just add a few bits. You don't want to go mad, just a few little bits, maybe a little bit just there, and then come back in with your light and blend those out a bit. I have found that the Calypso Coral Dark is quite a lot darker than the light, so you do need to kind of give it quite a bit of welly when you work it in, but we're only going for texture. You can tell I'm concentrating because I've suddenly gone quiet. There we go. Okay, so that's that. Then I'm using the light black, which still I find bemusing that you can have a light black for the eye. And then this is where the trick hopefully happens. So you come back in with your Stamparatus and pop some Versamark, whoops, onto your stamp, and this is why I say you want to clean the Calypso Coral off your stamp first. Stamp that down, and then, now I know we don't do it anymore, but I do like to use my embossing buddy. Pop that over the top, and stamp again, and then hopefully, yes, we've got Versamark on the side that is our front, and we can add gold embossing powder to that. Hurrah! That worked. I sound almost surprised, don't I? The first one of these I did ended up not quite right, but it does work if you are careful and make sure that your silicone mat is in place the whole way through it. So let's pop that on our trusty cheese board, zap up the heat gun, pop that away, and blast your powder. And I love this bit. Love it. And that is how you get a really clean impression with your embossing powder. Now, obviously you're going to have to fussy cut. I'm not going to make you sit through me fussy cutting. You know I like it, but I'm not going to make you sit through it. For the other seahorse and the seaweed, you just do straight Versamark straight onto your card. So, well, I say Versamark, do a pale colour straight onto your card, colour it in, then Versamark, so you don't have to do this mirror. But I do like a bit of the mirror. So, let me find my stamp and seal. get that lid off. I've got 2 bits of the ribbon. One is very fractionally longer than the other, so that's the slightly longer one. This is the top of my card, or paper rather. I'm just going to add some seal just to the edge here. Still getting used to using seal. We will get there. Now tomorrow I will have the Which is the Right Adhesive for What post, where I will be destroying the boxes that I made on Friday. You didn't see me make them, but I made boxes on Friday using all of the adhesives I could lay my sticky fingers on, so that we could try thinking about which is the best adhesive for what. I'm just going to tie this in a knot and then trim its ends. I love this ribbon. It just adds a little bit of something. It's so sheer that it's not really any colour at all. I mean, it is Pool Party, but it doesn't shout Pool Party at you. There we go. Okay, right. So more seal. Now I have found that if you just pull it up, you get a string, a bit like we did with Fuse. So I am tending to do a bit of a kind of break at the end. It's not such a great thing as it was with the Fuse, but it's certainly worth just not pulling straight up. You want to break the tape. You don't have that problem with the Seal Plus because it is put together in a slightly different way, and we will go through that tomorrow on Top Tip Tuesday, because yes, there is actually going to be a Top Tip Tuesday tomorrow. Yay! Okay, so I want the middle. All I've done with this paper is cut it in half, so this is 3 inches wide. So whether you are in North America or in a country that uses International A4, all you're going to do is cut your paper in half and then stick it down and trim to length, so it's not a great hassle. Like that. So as I say, it's a one measure job. Right, okay, so we fussy cut those. We would have fussy cut them if I could find where I've put them. One day. Oh, they're here. I can't see them for looking. Okay, so this is going to go at the bottom. These are going to link tails, because I think that's so cute. So we can have one slightly lower than the other. And then to stick those together, yes, the backs are disgusting because they've had embossing powder, particularly this one, which is the mirror one. The embossing powder does kind of stick to the back as well. So just stick those together by overlapping the tails and popping a small dimensional. And then we'll have small one there, small one there, large, 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 and then for the back of this we want, now obviously if you don't have mini dimensionals you could just cut down your larger ones, so it's kind of easy to do that. And you can also, where am I found my sticky scissors, just trim up an edge bit and cut that into little lengths. So we'll have one going down the stem, whoops, and one there, and one there, that will be all right with that. And then just peel the backings off, having made sure you've stuck them down properly. Always a plan. Then this comes down, so it comes over the edge. Oops, now where did that come from? Under there apparently. No, that doesn't want to stick. Okay, let's find another little bit. That's the sticky side. It's quite difficult with these little pieces to see which is the sticky side. There we go. And then we can just pop these on, and then we're nearly finished. Not quite, but nearly. So, yes, so I'm still, today's the last day for paper and ribbon share orders and the virtual party. The virtual party is on the 11th of July. I've got some really fun things planned with prize patrol. Everyone gets an all attendee present and make and take packs, which will be sent out very soon. And again, I want these to come off the edge. So yes, do get that. You do need to order a full, as in combined, paper share or product share, but why wouldn't you? Who doesn't want all of the papers and all of the ribbons? So I'm just going to put tiny drops of liquid adhesive just in a couple or three, well, 5 places. And then with my take your pick tool and the sticky end, I'm just going to pick up a few of these gems. Now, it's worth leaving the adhesive to set a little bit longer than I have. Then the glue will grab the gem and release off your take a pick tool. I am going in quite quickly, so they don't really, the glue's not quite tacky enough yet, but it's fine. Oops. But these make great little bubbles. And then I just want a little one. There's a little one there. For there. And then, oops, I find you can then use the other end of your take pick tool just to make sure everything's in place. And there we have our... Oh, I didn't stick the liner in. I didn't stick the liner in. So again, grab some seal. And you don't need a lot of pressure. And then just pop... Oh, and I've got to trim the bottom of my seaweed as well. Just pop that in there, and it is really quite sticky. And trim the bottom. I do like to do that from the inside. There we go. So that's our pool party version. That's our balmy blue version. Can't decide which one I prefer. Let me know in the comments below which one you prefer. Have a go at this mirror image heat embossing. It works just the same as any other mirror image. And as I say, if you use an ordinary ink, that's the word first, you get a much cleaner heat embossing because you can do your colouring with your blends first. So yes, thank you very much indeed for watching. If you've enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. If you've got any questions and comments, please leave those in the comments below the description bar. There's a link to the associated blog post, and I'll have some close-up photos in the description box. List of all the products and dimensions and everything is over on my website. So have a fantastic week, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye!